Hey there, everybody, and welcome to Wellness Wednesday. I am your coach, Carrie. Just one more disclaimer that I am not a counselor. I'm not a therapist. If at any point during trying any of the things that I'm sharing with you guys to increase your health and wellness, both physically and mentally, if you feel as though you might need some professional help, somebody who can get to the root of certain issues or solve some problems, medically speaking, then please, by all means, go seek that help. This is just, again, me sharing with you the things that I've uncovered, the things that I've discovered, and that have greatly improved my health and wellness in a whole sort of complete package kind of a way. And I'm sharing that with you, what's worked, so that you can have complete and whole wellness as well. So today I want to sort of build upon what I talked about last week. So last week I gave you a tool called EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, also known as tapping, where you tap on various points on your body along the meridian points, or along the meridian lines, so that you can tap directly into the part of your brain that sort of processes those things, and bring back flow to the energy that's in your body, right? It helps you release those emotions. It helps you sort of clear up the pathways so that you can function at a smoother, just better level overall. It helps you kind of release past memories, although it's more of like an in the moment kind of a thing. Like in the moment, feeling comes up and you might recognize it as being triggered by a memory of something that happened in your past, and you can absolutely clear it that way. But if it is a memory from your past that might have a little bit deeper roots than, being able to just do a quick thing of tapping and sort of clear it, you might discover that you later on still sort of feel this emotional trigger of that past memory, or this emotional pull, or it's affecting essentially how you feel about yourself. It's affecting how worthy you feel you are to have the best health, the best wellness you possibly can. And so tapping is great, ducking into a bathroom when you're visiting family, or, something comes up real quick and you can just duck into a closet, whatever. Or you can, if you're sitting down, you can just at least tap on the bottom of your hand and, repeat the mantra to yourself, to sort of clear that in the moment. But if you're looking for something a little bit more lasting, besides obviously going to a professional, another technique that I heard about, that I still need to do, I need to sit down and do this, because there's definitely some memories of mine that I feel like would really benefit from this technique, is writing. So it comes from the idea that as you bring up these memories, the physical act of writing transfers that energy, that negativity that you have, transfers that energy through your arm, out the pen, and onto the paper. So now your energy surrounding that memory has transferred from inside your body, and because inside your body is where it's causing you problems. You can recognize these memories, but if you don't release them, then they're still in there wreaking havoc. So you need to transfer that energy into something else, and you can do that by writing. And then when you're done and feeling all of the emotions, writing the whole story out, writing about how you feel, and releasing that emotion into that piece of paper. You can't get rid of the energy, but at least it's outside of your body. And what you can do is then you can burn that piece of paper, and the energy sort of just is dissipated into the atmosphere. Don't believe me? So I saw this video, the video of the guy talking about this, said that there was a gentleman that came up to him afterwards, and he's like, "You expect me to believe, I understand that there's energy in living beings, but you expect me to believe that I can transfer my energy into a piece of paper by writing some story." And he said, well, let me ask you. He said this to the gentleman that was asking the question. Let me ask you, do you have kids? He's like, yeah, I have kids. And I can't remember what their ages were, but they were, still somewhat young. And the gentleman who gave the speech said, do your kids ever write you, like, create cards for you, write cards for you, or draw for you? And he said, yeah, all the time. He said, do you ever just throw those away? And he's like, no, I would never throw that away. Why? Why would you never throw that away? Because my kids drew it for me or wrote it for me or whatever, because they loved me. They put their heart into that. They put love into that piece of paper when they drew that, when they wrote that, when they gave that to me. And he said, so you're telling me that this piece of paper that any other person would look at and say, it's not worth anything. You are saying it's worth so much because there's love in that piece of paper. He said, you just explained exactly what you were discounting. This idea that your child can transfer their love and their emotion into a piece of paper that you are going to feel, because that love was directed towards you when they were doing it. And so you can feel the energy and the love in that piece of paper. But you don't think that you can do the exact same thing with the negative emotion? You can. So you write out the story. You completely release it into the piece of paper as much as you possibly can. Obviously, if it brings up too much, you might want to seek professional help. But release it and then go somewhere safe, outside in a aluminum can or a fire pit, somewhere that's safe, and burn it and let that negativity and that emotion be released from objects, and just see how that just sort of like lightens you and frees you, and probably even say something to yourself afterwards of, my past does not define me. I have released the memory. I am worthy. And see what that can do for you. It's so funny because we're on Christmas vacation right here. And we were just at my stepmom's house, who she lost her son 2 years ago. She lost her mom about 9 or 10 months ago. And then she lost my dad, her husband, in June. And so she has gone through a lot of loss. Right before she lost my dad, the counselor that she was working with had to leave. So she was reassigned to a new counselor. And she said, this counselor just gets her. The two counselors that she had prior, in the place that they lived before, and then this place prior to, being switched to a new counselor, it was all about loss. Every session was about, loss and the grieving process and all of that stuff. And this new counselor actually is doing a phenomenal job, in my opinion, because they talk about everything. They talk about everything throughout her entire life. They talk about ex-husbands. They talk about, childhood memories. They talk about, she used to be an alcoholic. They talk about all of that. And her counselor will bring up something that makes her go like, oh, wow. Like, oh yeah. Because it's all tied together. I mean, everything inside of us is defining the choices that we make, the way that we treat ourselves. All of those memories have a huge impact. And you might not think it has anything to do with what you're doing, but it does. It really, really does. So it's very important to be cognizant of little memories that come up when you do something that are sort of like, oh, well, of course, because this happened, whatever. Latch onto those and be like, oh gosh, that might be something I need to clear. That might be something I can tap out, or that might be something that I can write down on a piece of paper and burn, whatever it is to be cognizant of those memories and what they are telling you now as an adult about your worth, because it's wrong. And so I just want to end with this. Chris Downing, one of our super trainers, I got to see him back in April at a Super Saturday. And he was phenomenal at sort of illustrating this. He got a couple of people to get up in front of everybody else. And he chose this one person to be like the person whose life we were following. And he talked about how when she was born, God gave her everything. He made her a perfect creation for exactly what he wanted her to do in this life. And then, she grew up and, this person came into her life and, they were great friends, but then like they had to move away. And then this person came into her life and was a boyfriend that was, she thought was like the one, but then he cheated on her. And then this person came into her life, was like her best friend in college, but, was the one who cheated on her, cheated with her boyfriend, whatever it was. All these different things that happen in the life of this person who was created with so many gifts and so worthy because God created her. And that's the only thing that matters. God created her. And he doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't create imperfect things. We take on all of these other things throughout life, and those skew our vision of ourselves, of who God created us to be. And we will operate based on those things that have happened, based on the way we view the memories of the things that have happened to us and what story we've made up about them, about ourselves, to justify them. Because we always have to find a justification for why something happens. And usually that's at our expense. Why did this happen? Well, I wasn't pretty enough. Well, why did this happen? Well, I wasn't smart enough. Well, why did this happen? Well, I wasn't good enough with money. Well, why did this happen? Well, I was never great at math. Well, why did this happen? Well, bad things just happen to good people. And it sucks. Whatever it is, we usually take it on ourselves to explain why this bad thing happened. And shoot, we live in a sinful world. Bad things happen. And it's our right. We can't change our past, but we can forgive it. And we can take back our power by releasing the negative emotion attached to these memories and rewrite our worth back into our lives and disassociate any lack that we might have that would have caused that, and understand that it wasn't us. That we are worthy regardless of our past, and that we can move on and we can be better. So I hope this helped. I hope this technique is one that you will try. I promise I will try it too. But I do believe everything that the gentleman in the video said, which was, you can transfer the energy, whether it be love or whether it be hate or whether it be, any sort of positive or negative emotion, into a piece of paper. And if you want to get rid of that and you want to release that energy back out into the world, you can burn it and get rid of it and get it out of your body. So I hope this helps. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you will tune in next week for next week's Wellness Wednesday. Have a good one.